What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Families Anonymous. I'm here with my man, Michael Avallone. We're at Avallone Ranch. You guys know we've been here before. If you have not seen the full tour of his house, please go check out the video titled Star Wars Collection. We're here today to do a spoilers review for The Last Jedi. And I told y'all we're going to come to a special location. I had to come here. This has been months in planning. Let's go ahead and get into it. What was your first? Now, we're going to have some contrasting opinions here. I'm what you call a new Star Wars fan. I didn't see 4, 5, and 6. I've watched the prequels because that came out during my time. That was early 2000. You know, life was grand back then. Life was grand early 2000. But I saw the prequels. I've been reading up on stuff. I've been watching stuff. I've been watching videos, listening to theories, talking to people like Michael and Kevin, and just getting different ideas on what Star Wars is and learning so I can kind of catch up without having to go back. Now, I'm going to go back and watch the movies.
You better.
But I'm going to have to. But I want to get your first opinion because I saw your Facebook post when the movie was out, and you were like, I don't know. It kind of threw you off a little bit. Now, y'all know you're a deeply invested Star Wars fan, as you can see where we are. Let me know your first opinion when you saw it the first time.
My first opinion, Malcolm, I left the theater, and I thought, what the hell happened? That was my first opinion. I was very disappointed.
Okay.
That was my first opinion.
Now, what disappointed you in that first view?
The whole movie.
The whole movie.
The whole movie. I couldn't even, if I tried to tell you each thing,
right,
we'd be here for probably over an hour.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Now, when you went and saw it the second time, how did you feel?
The second time, I should have felt that way the first time. I loved it.
Right.
I loved it.
I loved it too. I went in, and when you go watch a Star Wars movie, the energy is it's out of this world because everybody's there, everybody's excited. Like I said in my non-spoilers review, when the Star Wars logo smashed on the screen, everybody just erupted, and it was like, okay, we're here, we're in this movie.
Yep,
it's about to be good. So let's go through the movie. We're not going to touch on each and every last little thing. This is a spoilers review. Warning, spoilers review. Do not click on this video if you have not watched this movie. And if you are watching to this point, just pause it and go see the movie.
Yep.
It's Sunday. You know, it's raining here in Alabama. I don't know where you are, but go check it out. So, like I said, the hype was real when the movie first started out. Everybody was excited. It's a new Star Wars movie. We've been waiting 2 years. Rey has been standing on that island with her hand held out for the last 2 years.
She kind of tired on.
She kind of tired on. We've been waiting on that. What I like is whenever the ships come out of light speed. Now, we didn't see that from the Resistance, but whenever the First Order ships would just pull up, it was that caught my attention each and every single time. And they're coming through light speed and they just all of a sudden just come out of nowhere. And I saw that in Voltron Legendary Defender. I watched that cartoon a lot, and it kind of had that same effect, same feel. Because all of that stuff revolves around Star Wars and each other at the end of the day. Now, another thing was that when Poe had called General Hux.
Oh, that
was hilarious.
That was great.
That was hilarious. He was like, hello, and it was just a ploy to stall him. Now, going into the first part of the movie, what did you think about the beginning?
The beginning was great because, to me, Poe is a comedian. He did that in Force Awakens.
Right.
And when they caught him, they made him kneel down, and he said, "So how does this start? You talk first. I talk first.
Right.
I don't know how this goes." And so I was expecting something like that, and it went even a little bit further. And Hux, he didn't know what was going on, and he was saying, "Can he hear me?
Can he hear me?"
He's Poe's going. Hux with an H, still holding.
H-U-G-G-S.
Hux is getting madder and madder. So
and the guy was like, I think he's playing with you, sir.
Yeah, exactly, right? Hux just didn't get it.
Now, would you say Poe is kind of like the new Han, the free-spirited, wild guy? I'm out here. I want to do it this way. Maybe this will work.
Yeah, I think a little bit because he also doesn't want to listen to anybody.
Exactly.
And that's why a little bit later on he got demoted.
Yeah,
because he wouldn't listen. Yeah.
Real quick. Now, speaking of demotion, we all know Carrie Fisher passed, so it was kind of, heartfelt to still see her in this movie because she had finished filming her scenes.
Yeah.
She was so amazing in this movie. Like, she held no prisoners. And this is something new I learned by watching the movie. I did not know that she had access to the Force.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
This is why I told you when you were over here the first time that you need to watch those original trilogy movies.
I did not know that. I thought she was gone. I thought they were going to kill off like they did Yondu on Guardians of the Galaxy 2. You know, he just floated out and she just started to freeze. But she just reached out and I was like, okay. Yeah, I thought she was gone. So that's something new I learned. That's something new I learned in this movie. We finally get to Act 2 and we have the scene where, and it gets hilarious at this point. Rey is still standing there. She gives the lightsaber to Luke. He looks at it and tosses it behind his back. Everybody lost it in that scene because at this point, this is what I'm expecting. I'm expecting to get this. I'll take the lightsaber, big grand speech. Thank you for bringing this to me. What do you need my help with? And he's just like, forget it.
He didn't care.
He didn't care. He had been there so long that he had gained this callous over himself or in his mind from anything that had anything to do with the Force, Jedi, or the galaxy period. What were your thoughts on that?
The first time, it made me mad. Mm-hmm. I was like, I waited for this. I waited for this like
epic
comedic moment. It was just comedic. He just tossed it over his shoulder. You know, and she had a look on her face like, she was really puzzled. What is this? You know, and then he walked away, and that was that. Again, the second time, but you go in the first time, you really don't know what's going on,
right? So
you don't know that about him
exactly,
and you know, I think this is one of those movies. There's not a lot of movies out there where you have to have a second watch.
Exactly.
You know, there's a lot of stuff in this movie.
It is. It's jam-packed with stuff, and it doesn't overpower each other. That each piece has its own individual place throughout the movie. Now, let's get to a little bit of the plot real quick. You know, as of right now, the First Order is still moving through the galaxy, trying to stomp out the Resistance. The Resistance is trying to get all themselves together as much as they can, and we basically have Kylo still going after the Resistance. Now, one thing that kind of threw me off a little bit was the Rey's parents reveal.
I actually love that.
You love that?
I love it.
And I can guess why. It was probably because it didn't necessarily tie her down to the rest of the original formula. Oh, we found out that you belong to this family, you belong to that family.
Right. And then I read an article that basically was the same kind of thing. I wanted them to go somewhere else.
Right.
And if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, it'll wind up getting stale.
Exactly.
You know, if they keep doing a movie and they say, okay, this person belongs to these people, whether it's Obi-Wan somewhere along the line or Skywalker somewhere along the line or, you know, the Solo family, it's just going to keep being the same thing over and over again. And people expect that. And I think that's why a lot of people were upset because they waited 2 years and they wanted a big payoff. And they found out that Rey's parents are, you know, just a couple of drunkards that just sold her off.
Now, do you think that still might be a play from Kylo just to throw her off? Or, but it flipped around for me at that point when he told her, you knew that. You just didn't want to accept it.
Well, if you go back to Force Awakens, what was the guy's name? Unkar Plutt?
Yeah.
You know, one portion, quarter portion. He in that one part in the movie, he was dragging her away, and she was screaming as a little kid. Apparently, when they were leaving, like when they sold her off.
Right.
So somewhere in her mind, she knew who her parents were
and knew what the situation was.
And apparently, as she grew up, it got blocked out, or she didn't want to think about it, and she was always thinking, her parents are going to come back. So she always knew who her parents were.
So now we got a situation where it's now shown that people who are not necessarily from a different genealogy or ancestry, they are Force sensitive because she's very, very strong. And she showed some powers that, you know, most people don't get right off when they're beginning to realize and feel the Force. And that was another thing when Luke finally decided to train her, and they're sitting down on the aisle, and he says, "Close your eyes. I want you to reach out. What do you feel?" And he had that leaf under her hand.
Do you feel it?
Do you feel it? She was like, "I feel it. I feel something. It's there. It's there."
That was great. That was great.
So, what are some other things that you took away from the movie?
Uh, the first time I saw it, I thought there was a little bit too much comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Second time, I didn't think there was a little too much comedy.
Right.
Uh, there was, you got to understand why they make a movie, the pace of a movie, why they do certain things in a movie. One thing I thought they should have done was when Kylo was flying towards the ship and he was thinking about killing his mother.
Mm-hmm.
I think he should have killed his mother.
Yeah, I thought he was going to do it,
but I thought he was going to do
so
it too.
Conflicted that he couldn't do it.
He is conflicted,
and when it happened, he was even shocked. Like, I wanted that to happen, but I didn't want that to happen. And he just kind of flew on off.
Right, and then after that, so the ship gets blown up. Leia gets sucked out, probably with a bunch of other people.
Yeah.
There are other people on that bridge.
Akbar.
And then, Akbar and all the other people in command. She goes flying out, and then they show her floating. We all think she's dead.
Yeah.
And then you see her hand kind of go like that. Her eyes open. She uses the Force. And now I've seen it twice. I'm not going to like that scene. Okay? There's probably never going to be a time I like that scene because, to me, they turned her into Mary Poppins. And she another friend of mine said the same thing. He said it before I said it. I mean, she puts her hand out and she goes floating back. And to me, that's one of the stupid things in a Star Wars movie. She looked like Mary Poppins. She floated back toward the ship.
Yeah.
She touched the glass. They opened the door. They got her in. And that, to me, that just doesn't work.
Right. How would you have done it? Would you have just let her go ahead and go?
I would have just had her die.
Yeah.
Had her
and
die
I thought
in
that's
space.
what was going to happen.
If that's what they were going to do, they could have had her die in space. They could have had her daughter, Billy Lord, take over from there.
Right.
And had her do all the scenes that would have been Carrie Fisher's scenes for the rest of the movie. I mean, she passed away. You're trying to recover, trying to use as much as you can for the movie. I understand that.
But in that regard, she had already finished her parts.
Right.
Her shooting was done.
Yeah.
And, she passed before they went into the shooting for episode 9. So that was the big discussion, whether or not to do a hologram for episode 9. Do you think they made the best decision not to?
I think it would have been too soon if they did that. If they tried to, do like what they did with Tarkin.
Right.
In Force, was it Rogue One?
Rogue One.
He's been gone for a long time.
Right.
So, but if they did that in this next movie, I just think it would be way too soon.
Yeah.
Apparently, they said she filmed a lot of stuff.
Yeah, she filmed
this movie.
She finished filming 4-8. She was done all the way through.
Yeah.
And they decided, it was talks of whether or not they were going to do the CGI hologram, but they decided not to.
Right.
Out of respect. The family came out and said that they didn't want to do it.
Right.
So they decided not to go ahead and do it. Now, when Snoke, and let's talk about Snoke for a second. Let's do some character development. Snoke got smoked real quick. Snoke was gone.
Snoke did get smoked.
I was expecting Snoke to be there. And again, just like the moment where Rey is standing on Ahch-To holding out the lightsaber, I was expecting this epic moment from that. I was expecting an epic reveal from Snoke. And we just found out, he's just the supreme leader. He has attachment to the Force, and got sliced in half.
I was thinking the same thing. Okay, I was thinking the same thing. And so the first time I saw it, I don't know if I wasn't in the right frame of mind. He brings Rey on the elevator. He's taking her to Snoke. So I'm watching it and I'm going, okay, he's got her in the elevator. That's like Vader taking Luke to the Emperor. Okay? He brings her in the room. That might as well be the Emperor sitting in the room.
Exactly.
And then they change it up a little bit, but they still had the lightsaber and they put it on his throne.
Right.
And that's like when the Emperor had the lightsaber on his throne.
Exactly. The same form.
So then they still change it up a little bit and he's got her floating in the air. And then she's standing there facing. And the first time, I kind of didn't get it when Snoke got killed. I don't know if I wasn't listening or if I wasn't in the right frame of mind. But when we came out of the theater, I said to myself, Snoke is this all-powerful guy. How did he not see that coming?
How did he not even feel it through the Force.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
He should have known.
He should have felt that lightsaber movement. He should have felt something different.
Right.
And he, more than likely, he felt exactly what was happening.
Right.
Because he was basically explaining his own death. And he will take the saber and drive it straight through his enemy.
Exactly.
So he probably felt Kylo through the Force.
Yeah, he did.
And he thought it was going to go to Rey, but...
Yes, and that's how Kylo fooled him. And I got that the second time, because here's the saber sitting on the throne, and Kylo is turning his saber in his own hand. Mm-hmm. At the same time, he's jiggling the saber on the throne.
Behind his back.
So Snoke is watching him, and he's not paying attention to the one on the throne.
Exactly.
And he says, oh, he's turning the saber, and then Kylo is thinking about his greatest enemy, and Snoke is thinking Kylo's greatest enemy is Rey.
Right.
But he's not catching this, and he says he's gonna strike down his greatest enemy. So he's not thinking his greatest enemy is me, and then he just lights him up, cuts him in half, and then that look on Snoke's face was like, what the hell just happened?
And those trailers, they really played us in those trailers. I want to talk about some of those trailers for a second. We got the one trailer where they were carrying Finn's body across the red planet. That didn't happen in the movie. Nope. We got the one trailer where we were confused about the verbiage that was being said, where we know that Luke was telling Rey it's not going to go how you think.
Right.
But it was the line that Snoke made, when I first found you. And you remember in the trailer, they showed us Rey's face, but he was talking to Kylo.
Right.
Now let's talk about Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren is very conflicted for a big number of reasons. Luke tried to kill him.
Yeah,
that's where it started.
That was kind of messed up. That was kind of messed up. That was really messed up that, Luke was actually going to be a murderer there. And that goes back to the thing about there's three sides to every story. Mm-hmm. There would be his side, and the truth. They both told a side of the story, and then they finally, Rey was like, I got part of your story, and then she finally, when she fought Luke, he finally told her what actually happened.
Exactly.
He said, well, I felt the dark side.
And I felt like I couldn't help him.
I was going to kill him, and then he felt shame, and then, he stopped. It was real quick. Mm. But then Kylo woke up, turned around, and then went to defend himself.
Yeah.
And, if you see your uncle trying to kill you,
you're going to defend yourself.
You're going to defend yourself, and then Luke's trying to stop him. And then the whole thing just went sideways.
And that's how he burned the Jedi Temple. That was all out of anger.
That created him.
And that's what Rey told me. You created Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
You're the reason that Kylo Ren exists.
Yeah.
And, I understand why he burned the temple and took some of the people with him. Now, one thing that somebody pointed towards me was, I wonder were those Jedi that he took with him some of the Palatorian guards or other people that are in the First Order.
Could have been.
Could have been. We really didn't see a lot of that. What's something else that grabbed your attention in the movie?
There was a lot of little things in the movie that they didn't need, like getting a hold of Maz Kanata.
Right.
Like, what was going on with her? She was like flying with a jetpack.
She was in some type of fight or battle.
Yeah, she was in some kind of battle.
Now that I think about that they could have kept that out.
What was she doing? Number one, how'd they get a hold of her? In The Force Awakens, Poe didn't know who she was. Poe didn't meet her, so to me that was a little bit of a screw up. The other thing that I first thought of, but then I thought about it again, when Luke force projected himself initially and came out and, was keeping Kylo, at bay.
I caught that.
He was keeping Kylo at bay so they could escape, right, and get out of the cave.
When he first came in, I was like...
He brings his lightsaber up, right? Mm-hmm. And Kylo should have thought, well, we just broke that lightsaber in half. How's he have this lightsaber? But if you go back to The Force Awakens, Kylo's like an angry child.
Exactly.
He's always getting mad, and he's always tearing stuff up. He smashed his helmet. He's tearing rooms up with his lightsaber. he's letting his anger control him.
Mhm.
He was so mad in this
He can
movie that he's not even thinking straight anymore, you know. So
I'm gonna touch on that
he
Luke
didn't think
part.
about the lightsaber.
That Luke part, and like I said, I'm really getting into a lot of Star Wars movies. I caught that. I said, that's not, Luke's not there.
I said that. I leaned over
said
to
he's
my
not there.
wife and I said that.
But when he hugged Leia, I was like, well, maybe he is there. You know, it kind of threw me off. So when the fight happened, and another hilarious part was when he was like, fire everything you have out of him.
Yeah.
And they just, all the acts, they just fired, and the ships are fired. And then I think it was Hux. It wasn't Hux. It was somebody else. He said,
"Do you think you got him?
You think you got him, sir? Like, is that enough?" And then what was funny, because we eventually found out that Luke was force projecting himself. He just brushed his shoulder off.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's not gonna hurt me.
Yeah,
Of course,
that
it's not
was
gonna
great.
hurt you because you're not there.
And if you also notice, they never touched lightsabers. Like when Kylo came at him, he did like this Matrix style move. You know, he dodged back, and the lightsaber like kind of went over his head.
Yeah.
And you know, so but when he touched Leia, my wife said to me, I didn't catch it the first time, he doesn't look like Luke on Op 2. He's a younger.
He's looking like Luke when he was about to kill
brown
Kylo.
beard. Yeah, he looked
short
like
hair.
And even Kylo didn't notice that.
Yeah, and I missed that too, but I had a feeling that he was actually not there. So before we wrap this up, I want to know, how do you feel about the end of the movie and where it's going over, because we're going to end with episode 9 with all of this.
The end of the movie, I liked where they ended. There was another thing I didn't catch. You don't know at the end of the movie if it's like, to me it's got to be quite a while after the stuff happened with them getting out of the cave, because you got this little kid telling a story.
Yeah.
And like I said, I didn't notice it, but he's got these little models that he made. And he's got like the walkers. Yeah. And he's got a little thing of Luke Skywalker. And he's telling this like legendary story of how Luke saved the day. And then the guy comes in, one of the slave owners, and he yells at him, and the kid runs outside. And I still got to go see it again, because somebody said he uses the Force to pick up the broom.
He did.
He doesn't actually pick it up with his hand. He uses the Force to pick up the broom, and then he flips it around like he's holding a lightsaber, and then he looks up at the sky and he sees a star, or a ship maybe.
A ship.
And then what I did notice was the shadow of him looks like the poster of the Phantom Menace. When you see the shadow of Anakin and the shadow's on the ground. Right. So that was really cool.
I caught that.
But that could be, I mean, seriously, that could be 50 years later.
Who knows?
For all we know.
I caught that. I caught when he went outside, he was part ways away from the broom, and he reached his hand out and the broom came to him. And then he did start playing like he was using a lightsaber.
Right.
Captain Phasma, that was just a dud.
Yeah, Captain Phasma was kind of bad. They didn't use her again. They cracked her helmet a little bit. They showed her eye, and then a friend of mine said he swears he saw something when she fell down in the fire. He thinks there was something like in that fire, like a level or something, like whatever caught Finn. He thinks there was something down there that caught her.
Caught her too.
And again, she's not going to be dead. We're going to see her come back.
Most probably so. I love that costume though. I love that.
Yeah, it's a cool costume.
A full chrome from top to bottom.
Yep.
But guys, we thank you for joining us in this spoilers review of Star Wars The Last Jedi. Please go check out the tour of Avallone Ranch on the Star Wars Collection video. You can see the link in the description, or you can just hit search on the Fans Not His YouTube channel. Mike, thanks for having us, man. We really appreciate it.
Anytime, man. Come back anytime.
Most definitely. We'll see you guys in another video.